Time for a look back at our top stories of the week. Tragedy shook a New Orleans East neighborhood when a house fire killed 3 children. After the fire, teddy bears and balloons piled up in a memorial outside the house. Police arrested the children's father, Joseph Washington, charging him with first-degree murder for allegedly starting that deadly fire. Shortly before, the children's mother reported Washington's violent behavior to police in a series of 911 calls. As a result, questions about 911 response times have come up. It took about 25 minutes after the mother's initial call for NOPD to arrive. In a passionate plea, Councilwoman Helena Moreno questioned whether the city even takes domestic violence seriously. Here's a look at the timeline of events and the community response to the tragedy.
New Orleans is still trying to wrap their minds around what happened Tuesday night as a father set his home on fire, his 3 kids still inside. A 911 call WWL-TV obtained from earlier this month outlines a history of domestic violence by the suspect, Joseph Washington.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I'm living currently in my home with my husband, and we having a dispute. We have a past history of domestic violence, but he's like sending me threats saying if I come back to the house and my kids are still there, and he's saying that he will leave them in the house, and he's telling me not to come back to the house. If I come back to the house, he's going to kill me.
As WWL-TV previously reported, the mother of the 3 children called 911 Tuesday night, asking for police as she was en route to her home, worried her ex-husband would do something violent. Now, city council members are demanding answers.
So often, it still seems like domestic violence is not taken seriously. And that when a victim says, I need help, it means they need help, and they need help right now.
Thursday, Council Vice President Helena Moreno questioned why police weren't immediately dispatched.
My question is, why at 11:55 wasn't fire and NOPD dispatched? Because you know what? If they got there within 5 minutes, they would have been there around 12:01, just a few minutes after that father had left. Maybe the circumstances would have been different.
Thursday, the Orleans 911 Center gave us a closer look at what happened Tuesday night.
In our world, seconds matter.
According to OPCD Interim Director Carl Fassold, the first call came in at 11:54 Tuesday night. He says the call taker made the incident report at 11:55 p.m. It was a domestic disturbance code 2, the highest code for a police response.
That's a lights and siren call.
The call taker gets more information at 11:57 p.m. Fassold says roughly 2 minutes later at 11:59 p.m., the incident is broadcast over the radio with an alert tone to all police units, as no police crew was close enough to respond. OPCD says at 11:59, the NOPD district rank was notified of the incident. About 9 minutes later, at 12:08 a.m., the first call reporting a fire came in. About 30 seconds later, an incident report for the fire department was created, and at 12:09 a.m., the fire department was dispatched.
And OFD was not notified until we received a call that there was a fire. The mother said he was threatening. Current policies and procedures are not to dispatch fire because somebody says someone's going to set a fire.
Another call reporting the fire came in at 12:11 a.m. A third call reporting the fire came in at 12:13 a.m. That caller said children were trapped in the home. The first fire unit arrived on scene at 12:14 a.m. Then, Fassold says, NOPD was dispatched at 12:15 a.m. At 12:16 a.m., the fire department requested EMS. OPCD says EMS was dispatched at 12:18 a.m. OPCD says 2 children were pulled from the home at 12:19 a.m. Then, Fassold says, NOPD arrived at 12:20 a.m. EMS arrived at 12:29 a.m. Suspect information was broadcast by police at 12:48 a.m. Fassold says the protocols were followed.
That all worked in this case just fine. What else we can do to more prioritize domestic violence, I don't know. It already was a code 2. It was already broadcast immediately. So to answer your question, I don't know if there's anything else we can do.
But says hindsight is 20/20.
In an ideal world, we would have enough field units to be able to assign someone and send them to that call immediately. You guys are well aware we don't live in an ideal world now. So we broadcast it so that everyone knew it was holding.
While others say OPCD protocol needs to change.
We're done with these dropped and awfully handed 911 calls. And there will be something done next session regarding the communication district.
We are now live at NOPD headquarters. Just minutes ago, we heard from Interim Chief Ann Kirkpatrick. She said that they have looked into their response times to Tuesday night's calls, and they are opening a PIB investigation into this. Take a listen to what she just had to say.
3 children died in this situation. This is a domestic violence case. I said in front of the council, I'll say it to the community. We are going to take, and we do take domestic violence seriously in this city.
Again, that was just minutes ago. That was Interim Chief Ann Kirkpatrick. They are opening a PIB investigation into the response to that call Tuesday night. She says they will let us know when that PIB investigation is complete and at which time we will be allowed to ask more questions and get more information. Reporting live at NOPD headquarters, Alyssa Curtis, Eyewitness News.
I think this crime, this tragedy has shaken the community up, Alyssa. Thank you so much for your coverage and dedication.
I have no words for it. It's just bad. I've never seen nothing like this before. For you to do it to your own children.
People on America Street, they are still in disbelief after 3 children died in a house fire and their father was arrested for their murders. Good evening and thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. The home where 3 children died Tuesday night in that fire, allegedly set by their father, was scheduled to be torn down today.
But hours after WWL-TV started asking questions, crews packed up and the demolition was delayed. Alyssa Curtis was on scene all day making calls, and she joins us now with an update.
That's right, guys. We were on the scene this morning when a city crew came with heavy machinery and further taped off the home. The city is now saying there is no immediate demolition planned. Before we give you more of the city statement, here's what happened throughout the day. The growing memorial for the 3 children who died in a house fire allegedly set by their father had to be moved across the street Friday. A notice of emergency demolition was posted on the porch. Crews were scheduled to tear down the house. WWL-TV was informed the mother of the 3 kids may not have known the demolition was happening. We began making calls to City Hall to ask why the demolition was happening, who had been notified, and who signed off. Crews were waiting around for hours for the all clear to start tearing this home down, but around 1:30 that plan seemed to have changed, and said crews started wrapping up the equipment and told us that demolition was not happening Friday. Crews out at the scene instead boarded up the doors. Emails WWL-TV obtained show Councilmember Helena Moreno passed along concerns from neighbors. They worried about people going into the home. Emails then show Interim NOPD Chief Ann Kirkpatrick said she'll have someone go out and check the site. Then, in another email we saw, Kirkpatrick said, quote, Mr. Montano just called to say the house is scheduled to be torn down tomorrow, and if not, it will be fenced until it is torn down. After the demo was delayed, WWL-TV was told the police department retrieved everything it needed from the scene, but the fire department still needed access. When WWL-TV spoke with the fire department, it told us it retrieved everything they needed. Now, WWL-TV is still waiting for more information from the city as it's still unclear why the demolition was postponed. Meanwhile, community members are still in shock.
It's devastating, man. I saw the young lady sitting on the step the day before. I saw the little kids. I see them all the time.
We're praying. And we're hoping you come to some type of peace. I know it's hard because it's your babies.
Within the last hour, the city got back to us. In part, they said the structure is unstable and a threat to the neighborhood. They say they have been in contact with the family, and with the family's support, they will work to secure the property. But they add there are no immediate plans to demolish it as it's still an ongoing investigation.
I love them more than I love my life. They was my everything. I did everything for them. Everything was about them. Every day that I breathe, I sleep, they were for me. And I felt like I failed them.
The cries of a mother hurting beyond measure.
But they were my babies, and I have to face the fact that I can't have them every day.
Now without her 3 small children.
Y'all know Mommy coming. I know y'all looking for me. Mommy coming around the corner. Okay, Jojo? Okay, Jayla? Okay, baby, mommy coming for you.
The 3 kids were killed in a house fire overnight Tuesday on America Street in New Orleans East. NOPD says it happened after their father threatened to burn the house down. Officials say they found the 3 and 8-year-old boys and a 5-year-old girl inside the house.
I'm gonna always fight because Jojo, Jayla, and Avery gonna live. No matter what, they're gonna live through me, and I'm gonna make sure of it. I'm gonna make sure my baby.
Friday night, hundreds of people remembered the children at a park just down the street from the home, as a memorial across the road from the house continues to grow.
My youngest daughter here, that was her classmate, the youngest 3-year-old baby, so we're just coming out, you know, in representation of the classroom.
Despite the pain, their mother is showing courage.
I would never give up on them. I'm gonna fight for them.
Hearing the mother, I mean, it's, you know, I don't know if anyone can even try to understand like what she could be going through.
In Jesus' name, we release him.
Balloons filling the evening sky as New Orleans wraps their arms around this family.
We also followed the story where crime hit close to home for New Orleans' top prosecutor. Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams and his 78-year-old mother were carjacked at gunpoint Monday. This happened in the Lower Garden District, and WWL-TV got security video of the carjacking. An 18-year-old and another teen were arrested for the crime and then connected to 3 earlier car thefts. District Attorney Jason Williams also sat down with us for an exclusive interview where he said he's thankful to be alive. Here's more on what happened.
New Orleans 911, Rufia, this is your emergency.
This is District Attorney Jason Williams, and I was just carjacked at the corner of Race and Magazine Street.
Were any weapons involved?
Yes, 2 guns, 3 to 4 assailants.
Williams says he called police as soon as the gunmen were gone. As Mike Pearl's team reports, the DA says he was just as horrified as all the victims he's interviewed about these same crimes.
Get out the car, Mama. Let me get my mom out the car. That's the voice of New Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams, wearing the orange shirt in this video at the very moment a pair of carjackers point guns at him and his 78-year-old mom. In an interview just 12 hours after Williams was carjacked Tuesday night in the Lower Garden District, he said the masked gunmen were just a couple of feet away.
That hole seems a whole lot bigger when it's pointing directly at you.
What's running through your head when a gun is pointed at you?
You know, it is every bit as horrific as it sounded when I have sat and listened to crime victims.
He said he thought about the murder case his office is prosecuting against 4 juveniles accused of dragging 73-year-old Linda Fricky to her death in a carjacking last year.
Linda Fricky was on my brain because my mom doesn't move very quickly now. And I said I can't until I get my mom out of the car.
But mostly, Williams said he was focused on his mom's safety.
Seeing the fear in my mother's face, seeing the terror in her eyes when she looks at the gun and looks back at me and looks at the gun and looks back at me, fearing the worst for me and fearing the worst for herself. I mean, she's really messed up.
In the end, Williams said he considers himself lucky. He and his mom were not hurt. His Lincoln Navigator was recovered.
This could have ended in a far worse way. So we are extremely grateful to God that no one was hurt.
Williams said he is now concentrating on helping his mom get over the trauma. Mike Pearlstein, Eyewitness News.
Williams' car was
Rochon was arrested less than 24 hours after the high-profile carjacking of New Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams and his 78-year-old mother. Rochon is accused of being one of the two gunmen who approached Williams and his mother with guns drawn near Magazine and Ray Streets in the Lower Garden District around 10 Monday night. He's also accused of a second carjacking on Barone 30 minutes later. Following his arrest late Tuesday afternoon, Rochon was booked in 3 prior auto thefts for which arrest warrants had been issued. According to court documents, Rochon was picked up near his home in the 7600 block of Brevard Street on Tuesday in the Little Woods neighborhood. Police say they tracked a stolen Dodge pickup truck allegedly used in the carjackings to Rochon's home. Court documents indicate as officers were reading Rochon his rights, he interrupted and said, "I know why y'all are here. Y'all's people have been got," a reference to D.A. Williams. Rochon is now facing a list of charges for Monday night's crimes, including unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, illegal possession of stolen things, and illegally carrying of a firearm. His attorney expects those charges to be upgraded to more serious crimes.
Now, obviously, we all know what my client is actually accused of, which perhaps was not the charge on the docket before the court today. I would assume there will likely be either an armed robbery with a firearm or a carjacking charge, at least one, if not more. That's what we're into.